Is there any evidence whatsoever that a healthy sex life plays a direct role in health as it pertains to disease?
Definitely. I'll start out with my two caveats, though, which is one, this is an understudied, underinvestigated area of our health. That's part of my messaging today. So many of the studies that I'll reference are not going to be robust in volume. And second, this is a incredibly heteronormative conversation for that reason. This is a data-driven podcast, and I don't have a lot of data on non-heteronormative, meaning men who identify as men having sex with women who identify as women. So that should alarm you as well that we don't have that data, but that's sort of the space in which if we're going to stay in a data-rich zone, that's where we have to stay. And also the discrepancy when you look at sexual health is greatest among those two participants. When we look at sexual health and we try to make the argument that sexual health is a part of health, we can sort of use your longevity framework. If we start with sleep, there is great data. We know that when you are sexually active with or without orgasm, just participation in a sexual activity, you switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic. So post-orgasm, you have a great activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. You release neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin. These are relaxing neurotransmitters. And when we study it either via diary or there's great studies that look at resting heart rate, sleep latency. Many of the measurements that we look to in terms of looking at sleep efficiency and quality subjectively and objectively improve with intercourse. What's really interesting and why I want to pull in all listeners, not just 50%, is there was a great trial that looked at how women slept after an orgasm with themselves, and they slept better. And then it looked at women being intimate with a man, and they slept better. But women being intimate with a man and having an orgasm with that man synergistically improved their sleep. You're getting sort of a dual benefit of that neuropharmacology that you're releasing from your brain, improving your biometrics, but also there's a connection and intimacy, a partnership that we know fosters better sleep. We don't have tons, but we know that sex can mimic a lot of the pathophysiology that we experience during exercise. There's been arguments over the decades about, is it low intensity? I think it depends on the couple. But we have studies that have tried to measure the METs, or the metabolic equivalence, or essentially the energy output. For women, on average, it's around 6 to 7 metabolic units for every sexual encounter. It's about 60 to 70 calories used during sexual activity. And there's a great study that compared this to walking slowly on a treadmill for the same amount of time. And they said that although sex was slightly lower in your energy export than walking on the treadmill, many of the participants reported that they had a much better time having sex than they did walking on the treadmill.